It's depressing to hear Nick go into auto mode and sound like a speaking clock with the Tory.
Do you think it's a bad thing that we created?
No, it is. But this is a meeting of candidates who can represent Newport. And the last thing I think we want to see representing Newport is someone who will join a group in Parliament on these issues we call the Give War a Chance Party. And they're mostly Tories. We've got some Lib Dems, we've got some others, but all that Nick has said tonight, he'd be a recruit for them, doing exactly what he's told to do, and I'm afraid leading us to more waste, more futility, more lost lives in future, and a more divided world. So don't vote for him. He's not a good thing.
I wouldn't expect your endorsement, Paul. And I'm not going to pretend for a second that I'm going to talk you around in terms of your worldview. What I would say is when you saw the passion on Michael Gove's face at that Syria vote, that wasn't because he wanted to give war a chance, it's because he wanted to save lives. And you might disagree with whether he was right or not, but the passion was there to save lives in Syria from people whose president was dropping barrel bombs of chemical weapons on them. I think that deserves an acknowledgement and some respect, rather than being simply thrown away as a warmonger.
It was a key day. We had a submarine ready to fire missiles into Syria the 29th of August 2 years ago. It was a very significant day in Parliament because it's the first time since the 18th century that a Prime Minister would come to Parliament saying, go to war, and Parliament said, no, we're not. And it was a great triumph, because what Cameron was asking us to do, and Michael Gove was asking us to do, with passion or without passion, was to go into the division between the Sunnis and the Shias, tribal wars that have been going on for centuries, very deep, bitter, divided, of which we know nothing. And he wanted us to intervene in there to fight Assad, who was the deadly enemy of ISIS. And now we're fighting ISIS, who's the deadly enemy of Assad. This idea that we're masters of the universe and we can go with our weapons
and
might and intervene, but Parliament in its great sense, the reason we got into so many wars is the hubris of prime ministers. What happens when the war drums start beating, and they've all done it, Blair, Thatcher and Cameron, is they're different people. They're not entirely sane. They talk in a different way. They roll up the old Churchillian rhetoric. They walk in a different way. They strut like Napoleon. Suddenly they're on the world stage. It's their time not to deal with these boring things about bedroom tax and all the details of policy. They're now going to write their page in history, and it's their bloody page in history. Absolutely. And Parliament stopped Cameron. We should have stopped Blair too. We should have stopped John Reid.
This is not about Cameron. This is not about Napoleon. This is about the Syrian people who had nowhere left to turn. Their own government turned on them and attacked them. We, as the West as a whole, irrespective of the fact that Obama had a red line when it came to chemical weapons, which was completely ignored, they had nowhere to turn. So they turn to extremists, because the only help they get was from Jabhat al-Nusra. It was from IS, or what became IS. So that actually... non-intervention has consequences. Intervention has consequences. But let's not pretend that one's a perfect solution and one's not. I think it is ethically wrong if we do not help those who are in need, whose life is in danger, who are persecuted, who have nowhere else to turn. The rich world has a responsibility to those people.
65 years